Hi, so why coaching, why now? We put together a business case for coaching over a decade ago, and that was really a very different era to what we are in now. In 2020, right around the time that the pandemic hit, we decided to refresh our business case for coaching. And it was at that point that we renamed it because it was very much a moment in time. And we brought out a report last year called Why Coaching, Why Now? And then at the beginning of 2021, it seemed like a new era had begun, and it was time for a refresh of that research into coaching. So we went back out into the marketplace to look at what new research had been done, and also just to rethink where we were at, because of course, we're in a new normal. The new normal is a little bit like the old normal from 2020. And so we started to look at what that means for people in organizations and how we work. We looked at one of the ICL coaching principles, which is how we construct our world specifically and what agency we have as leaders and managers and people in organizations. And through looking at that, we looked at the research through a new lens and brought out a new version, 2021 version of Why Coaching, Why Now? So I have Jane Porter with me today to discuss it, and really interested to get your take, Jane, on the research report and what trends you're seeing out there as you coach in that marketplace.
Thank you, Mandy, and what an 18 months it's been. If we think in the context of that constructionist principle, the constructionist principle is one that believes that we construct our own narratives and stories, and they develop as a result of what we think, what we believe, what we say, how we behave. And it's really interesting looking back now on the last 18 months to think about, well, what narratives have come into our world, and what are they creating in our leaders and in our organizations. And what's the flow-on effect of that? So what does that then create in terms of organizational culture and results and people and performance? So as I looked at the Why Coaching, Why Now report, I've looked at it in that context. And as with much coaching research, there are some themes that are continual and that come through again and again and again on the effectiveness of coaching. But what really struck me this year about this report are the things that are shining through that are quite different, and that there's some new messages coming through really strongly. And the overarching theme that I am noticing both in the report and in coaching is leader well-being. And much of the research continues to advocate, and has done for some years, that leaders need to connect more effectively with others, need to be better in relationship, people and purpose before profit. These kinds of narratives are building strength in our organizations. But what's interesting is the idea that the leader can't really connect effectively to others until they've connected to themselves first. And then, of course, where coaching comes in, and some of the themes through some of the research in this report were really prominent around leaders in the last 18 months have lost their sense of self in many cases. They've lost their ability to be grounded in their leadership identity and their leadership values and their leadership styles and approach, because so much change has come at us in so many unprecedented ways. So in this period, the narratives we have around leadership and our leadership identities are changing as we speak, and are being challenged as we speak on many levels. So it wasn't surprising for me to read in DDI's 2021 report that leadership energy has taken a nosedive. And I'm seeing lots of examples of that in the people I coach. I've been coaching since 2006. And I've never known this topic to be more prominent. The other interesting thing is that the research shows that leaders who either have coaching skills or have had some coaching through this period have fared better than ones who haven't. So it's a really interesting time for the world of coaching in how it might help us restabilize and rewrite some of the narratives for the future. And if we link that with IECL's Coaching Impact Report that came out in 2020, that showed that coaching can increase well-being in 5 separate measures. And they were optimism, the feeling of being relaxed, the ability to deal with problems more effectively, the ability to think more clearly, and the ability to have strong and healthy relationships, including the relationship with yourself. And one of the programs we ran in 2020, right in the middle of those early months of the pandemic, was something called Focus Coaching. And through that cohort, we achieved a 21.5% uplift in the wellbeing scores of our participants in that cohort. So it's wonderful to see research showing the impact that coaching can have in some of the most challenging times that we've experienced since the inception of this industry. And a couple of other things before I hand back to you. The HBR reference in the report talks about how coaching does take time to really build as a skill, and it really is an art and a craft to be honed. Having said that, even if you know a little bit about it and you have a small amount of skill, it can make a difference. So I think that is really encouraging, whichever end of that spectrum you sit on as a leader, whether you're just learning some early skills or whether you're following credentialing pathways and you're working towards professionalism in your coaching, it doesn't matter, you're making a difference. And the final thing I'm now pondering is the last 18 months have given us lots of new story material. So if you think about this concept of we can construct our world and we can reconstruct our world, I wonder what we can now construct in the 18 months ahead that we wouldn't have been able to construct as leaders and organisations without the pandemic.
So interesting, isn't it? It's an opportunity. Again and again, I think we're seeing that, the silver linings of around the cloud of COVID. Thanks, Jane. Inspiring, definitely. And obviously, if this is something that interests you, do download our Why Coaching, Why Now report. And we'd also love to chat with you if at any point you want to continue the conversation around coaching. There's lots of opportunities to be coached, to find a coach if you need that kind of support right now, which many of us do, or to learn some coaching skills, whether it's some micro skills or whole accreditation in coaching. We offer all of these things, so we'd love to hear from you. IECL.com is the easiest way to find us. You can also download the report there, and we'd love to chat further on this interesting topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy.